All right, everybody, welcome on in to the Mainline Sports Bar. We are here live in the Spa City at Oaklawn, getting geared up to talk about who's that next head coach going to be at the University of Arkansas. Man, the question, the multi-million-dollar question that is. Welcome for everybody in. I'm DJ Williams, and alongside my counterparts, we got Josh Throne and Grant Cook, both up there in Northwest Arkansas. As we get into this big, debate, man, I can't tell you how long now this has been the topic of conversation for an extremely long time, and here we are. And the thing about it is, depending on who you ask, apparently some people know the answer. They know who it's going to be. They know who it shouldn't be. I mean, everybody has it all mapped out and all figured out. Now, the thing is, that name that usually follows the conversation of who it needs to be is different just depending on who you ask. So that's going to be our big topic of conversation. Arkansas with the bye week. Much needed bye week, that is. But now we got LSU on the road down in Baton Rouge coming up. But, fellas, once again, the names just keep popping up, and I would say consistently you hear names like James Franklin, who got fired at Penn State this year. You hear Alex Golesh over there at South Florida, who I just learned by Grant, wife is from Greenwood, Arkansas. They know a thing or two about football over there in Greenwood. Another name, Ryan Silverfield, the head coach at Memphis, just dropped a game to Tulane, potentially, I wouldn't say potentially, I would assume put them out of the college football playoffs as the G5 team in. That's going to be a whole thing as it rolls out. Obviously, Coach Petrino in the mix and a couple other names I put up on a poll yesterday, fellas. But those were the names that popped up the most. Silverfield, Franklin, Golesh, Bobby Petrino. And that's just based off what we got back from over 1,000 people who voted on this yesterday. And so in today's episode, that's exactly where we have for you here today. We're actually going to look into it. I actually got a notebook this week, y'all. Printed off a nice little 4th and 5 notebook, and we got 20 pages of notes on each of these coaches. All right, so we're going to go through it, their tendencies, what they like, what are some games that they had that kind of was a good indication of what type of coach they are and what type of characteristics they want to bring to a program. And we also got to show some games and actually some very specific coaching decisions that would leave you scratching your head like, what was he thinking? I mean, we're about to dig into the weeds on these guys. And I think that's something a lot of people have not done yet, is to really take time and do the research on these guys, figure out where they've been, where they're at now, and what they could potentially bring to a program like Arkansas, who is in a really bad spot, sitting dead last in the SEC right now. When I say dead last, fellas, I'm talking about Kentucky is in this conversation as well, sitting above Arkansas. Couldn't ask for a worse way to have the season go up so far. Still got 3 games left. But, fellas, here we are. So these are the names we're talking about today, okay? We got Alex Silverfield. That's where we're going to start, okay? Then we're going to move forward to James Franklin, and we're going to wrap it up with Alex Golesh, all right? That's what I'm going to do, but I got all these breakdowns on them. But I wanted us to talk about a guy who was well in this search, in my opinion, and Coach Bobby Petrino, who was current interim head coach, and we've all played for him. And I asked y'all before we came in to essentially pitch why he should be the next head coach, and I also want you to pitch why he should not be the head coach. But before we get into that, fellas, overall thoughts on all of this right now. Josh, I'll start with you.
Well, I think the overall thoughts on it is, you've got everybody's got this inside source that's telling them this inside information. And what we've really found out is that no one really knows what's going on. I remember I was watching the news. I'm not going to shout out what channel it was, but somebody said Dan Mullen, is in conversations with this job, and he's negotiating, what he wants for NIL pay and blah, 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 blah. And come to find out, Dan Mullen tweets to a video of that saying 0.0 interest in Arkansas. So I think that kind of tells a story about how everyone thinks that they have this knowledge and insight on who might be the next head coach. But I think Arkansas has done a really good job at keeping this under wraps. Everybody that's on the list in the binder that you're going to be going over today, I think is unproven, should I say, minus maybe Franklin, right? And so I think that Franklin's a guy that, if we could get him to come from Penn State, where he's one of the more winningest coaches in college football, that would be a huge win. But I don't see it as reality, and we'll talk about that later, I'm sure, DJ. But yeah, I think it's there's a lot going on, but I think that there's one name that comes to mind that I'll touch on here in a minute.
All right, Grant, what you got for us, big dog?
Yeah, I think think you guys kind of nailed it. Everybody has a conversation with people at the water cooler at work or with their buddies on the phone, but most of those conversations start with or end with, well, my buddy knows a guy that talked to somebody that knows, that it's going to be this person. And so, but no one actually knows who those buddies are, or who that guy is. And so, I think that's part of kind of what goes on during these coaching searches is that there are names floated. Now, whether that's to get a popular vote and get some feedback on it, or if that's just to throw a name out there to get people to look one way, it's kind of a shiny thing. And while conversations are happening elsewhere, I know all the plane trackers are out in full force right now. We tried our hand at that several weeks ago and realized that probably not the best time for 4th and 5 to spend doing something. But it's wild and crazy. And I really don't know that any names off the board, including, Coach Petrino. I know that's the name that you brought up just a second ago. But, I think all of these guys are in the conversation because they've proven that they can win. Now, can they win at the SEC level week in and week out? A lot of them haven't proven that. There is one that has, and that's Coach Petrino. But we'll get into the details. And DJ, I'm just super impressed by you. I think that book report that you've got there on your desk is maybe the most homework you've done in your entire life.
Bro, I went and bought a hole puncher too, just to put it in the binder. All right, I'm not playing around. And then my printer I had at home today was kind of not right, so I went and bought a new printer. I'm locked in on this thing. All right, and as I'm doing research on these coaches, man, I'm starting to realize. Imagine this. I don't think there is one person who will solve all of our issues. They all come with something that will be a knock on their approach. It's wild how that works, right? And so as that being said, you talked about the popular choice. So I posted this. Was this yesterday? I put this up on social media. Some people saw it. If you follow us, once again, hit us up on all of our socials. I wanted to know who's the next head coach. These are the names I put up. John Summerall, Bobby Petrino, Eric Morris, Ryan Silverfield, and James Franklin. Now, these were the names that a lot of people have been talking about. I quickly realized that Eric Morris was not a part of this conversation. John Summerall didn't get a lot of love either. Let's go ahead and take a look at those poll results that we had yesterday. You can see right now out of the options we had, Petrino at 35.1%. And now the thing about Twitter, it doesn't let you do more than 5 options. If I would have known these other 2 choices wouldn't have got much action, I wouldn't have paired Franklin and Silverfield together. But just based off the comments, I mean, they were right up there with them. Now, I don't know who got more of it, Silverfield or Franklin. Based off comments, I would assume it's Franklin. And so that pretty much brought me down to the top 4 candidates, because one name I left off that everyone was talking about was South Florida's coach in Alex Golesh. And so I'll be doing this again tomorrow, reposting this to try to narrow this down to see how far ahead, because I would assume out of these 1,000 votes, Petrino is leading the way based off the people who follow us on social media. So I would assume that's the case. I need to split those 2 up and see what happens. So let's go ahead and start with Petrino, and this is where I'm going to come to y'all. And Grant, I'll start with you. Are you in or out? And I want you to give a pitch both ways. Let's start with why Petrino should be our head coach next year.
So, if you look at it he's an offensive coach, right? And we know that. And I think that you can't argue with the numbers. I mean, we're a top 10 offense this year. Either coach that you bring in, or any coach that you bring in, rather, is going to favor one side of the ball or the other as a head coach. They either came up through the offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball. And when you look at it, he is one of the best play callers in the country. So I don't disagree that he should have an opportunity to be the head coach. And it's based strictly off what he's even proven this year and some of last year when he has his guys on the offensive side of the ball. We can score points, we put up yards, and it's an exciting piece. Now, do you want me to get into why I think he shouldn't, or do you want me to let we're just going to stick with why he should?
Let's hear Josh why he should, and then we'll get back to why he should.
One more point on why he should. So proven offensive mind, right? I mean, he knows that side of the ball. He can get it done there, and he has a history of winning in Fayetteville with this program. So a mixture of those 2 things, I think, is why I would pitch, hey, yeah, it makes sense for Coach Petrino to be the head coach.
All right, Josh, what you got for me, big dog?
Well, DJ, when you told me to come prepare for the show, I said, all right, let me put together a list of reasons. So I got 10 reasons as to
Nice.
why Bobby
Okay.
Petrino should be the head coach for the Razorbacks. Number one, we've got to judge him on what he actually controls and what he's had control of, and that's the offense. He came in here and took over the offense for the 2024 season and took a big step forward from the shambles of Dan Enos, right? And then now 2025, we're a top 10 offense in the country. We have a quarterback who's been ranked the most offensively productive player. I think right now he might still be like top 5 in the nation, and who knows where he ends up at the end of the year. But I just say on that alone, knowing what he's had control of, we can get a good gauge on how good of a coach he is. Number two, what he's actually done history-wise here. We all know, I think, what was his record? 34-17 previously, and then 21 and 5 in his last 2 seasons. He's the last coach to bring us to a BCS game. And actually, we finished the season ranked top 5. That's in the SEC. That's a proven winner. That's a guy who's done it. Then you got to look at the explosion that he's had on offense. It's not a fluke. You can look at, what he did at LSU previously. You can look at people even kind of hate on the Texas A&M days, but their offense took a step forward while he was there. It's a consistent step forward anytime he has control of the offense. And again, when he was previously in the SEC as a head coach, he proved that he could win. And winning at Arkansas is also important. Number 4, you cannot pin the past 6 years of culture and roster building and everything that this guy inherited from Pittman and Hunter Yurachek. You cannot pin that on Bobby Petrino as a second-year offensive coordinator. You just can't blame him for that. You got to give any head coach time to be able to build. Number 5, when he recruits a quarterback, magic happens. Just look at the previous quarterbacks that he's had here at Arkansas and what he's been able to do with them. Look at what he did at Louisville. Man, look what he did with the Missouri State offense. And then look what he's done again with Taylon Green. Quarterbacks want to come to play for him. And in college football, it matters to have a top-tier quarterback that wants to play in a top-tier offense. From a head coaching perspective, this is number 6. He'll make hard decisions. You saw what he did exactly when he came in and took over as a head coach in September or early October. Immediately fired defensive coordinators and cleaned house on the defense to try to create a change. Number 1 in culture. Number 2, obviously, in field play. And we've even seen Bobby Petrino as a head coach and that defense start to take strides forward in a matter of games in a mid-season shuffle that you couldn't expect a complete turnaround on defense in just a few weeks. Anybody that had this, let me blame the Arkansas defense on Bobby Petrino as a head coach now, just doesn't understand football. Number 7, if you compare this to the national coaching pool, Bobby Petrino is the only guy that's proven to do it. His resume is completely different than any of the other guys, minus maybe Franklin, right? Everybody else is just, I don't know, hope. Maybe we hope they can do good. We don't have anybody that has done good in the SEC. Number 8, he fits Arkansas and the SEC, and he's better than the rest of these outsiders because he's done it. He even has Texas A&M's number, and we went down to the wire with one of the better Texas A&M's we've ever seen, and we haven't done that in a decade. I mean, that's absolutely needed for a head coach in the SEC. Then you just have to admit, the entire marketing and redemption story behind Bobby Petrino coming back to Arkansas is going to play well in the media. You can't pay for that type of marketing and exposure. And if he's right and done well, this whole PR shift of coming back to Arkansas to do it the right way can really make a lot of noise nationwide, honestly, and really help recruit talented people to come play in this NIL era where money talks to come play for that Bobby Petrino offense. There's a lot of knock on him, maybe not being the recruiter, but I think, money talks now. So his recruiting ability is out the window. And then finally, number 10, from Hunter Yurachek's perspective, this is probably the less risk of a decision that you can make from an athletic director is going with Bobby Petrino because he's already proven to have done this. He already has local support. If you go out and get another Make-A-Wish coach that hopefully he can come in and be able to play and coach in the SEC and all of a sudden win in the SEC, but he has no track record of ever being a head coach. He has no track record of ever leading an offense or a defense. I don't know how you're going to do it. And yes, some of these guys you have on your coaching board, DJ, have success in smaller conferences, but This is not the conference to just go get give them a chance type of guy. You got to get a proven winner at the University of Arkansas, and I think it's very important.
Did you just say make a wish, coach?
Yeah.
Okay, good God. Going for the juggler right there.
No respect.
I'll I'll piggyback off of your last statement, what you said. I think risk-wise, it is the least risk that is available on the table with a extremely proven and high-quality coach and Coach Petrino. I just look at the landscape, not of just what's going on up in Fayetteville. You have to look around what's going on in college football right now. The vacancies open, and let's call a spade a spade. I love Arkansas. I think it's one of the greatest places on planet Earth. But I am from here, and I'm extremely biased. And when you look at some of these top coaches who, if they really do have the ability to take programs from somewhere that they don't want to be up to the next level, I don't know where Arkansas would lay on their radar of, I want to start there. And so I think a lot of these coaches, when you look at the opportunities that lay ahead, this is where it does get interesting. If you're a coach and you're looking for a stepping stone to get to the next level, Arkansas could be a scary spot because of the conference we're in, the resources that we don't have that Hunter Yurachek continues to tell us about, and then the expectations of you better get it figured out in 2 years or we're going to send you packing and find something else. It is an extremely tough place to build a foundation and build some roots, especially with the way that the game has changed. That's another reason I think Coach Petrino would be a really good option. If y'all were to ask me this question before the portal and NIL, I don't think Coach Petrino would be the best fit for Arkansas because a big thing when it comes to a coach that's going to change a program, they have to be an amazing recruiter. I think he struggles in that area of really trying to make these 18-year-old kids feel like the most important person on the planet. That's not his strong suit. I think even before all that mess that happened, Arkansas was going to start seeing that program not keep up with what we were used to with the 10-win season, the 11-win season. I think the fall-off was coming regardless because you didn't see a big wave of talent coming in with Coach Petrino's recruit. We have said that a lot. He does really well once talent gets there. Now, him getting the talent is the issue. Example, he had a lot of Coach Nuts recruits that he was able to develop those players and have a really big success for those guys. However, since the landscape has changed, you can have the best recruiter in the world who can recruit this player and do all this, and as soon as that player says, well, this school is offering me $200,000 more, it doesn't matter how good of a recruiter you are. That's just the landscape that we're in. Am I the biggest fan of it? No, it is what it is. And so when you look at those elements outside of the game, I think he's a really good choice. Also, we know this, too. He understands his situation. He understands his predicament. He has no leverage in negotiating. Now, I do think if he does get the job, you have to pay him what he's worth. I don't think you underpay somebody like Coach Petrino, but you don't have to overpay. And then you don't have to have these big buyouts in contracts. You can build in incentives if you do this, if you do that. And then it almost gives us time to kind of see what else happens and actually give Petrino a legit audition for a long-term contract. I wouldn't say the job. I think he's done enough to be a viable option for the job as it sits today. And when it comes to the X's and O's, yes, Coach Petrino has that figured out. So I think that's why you get to a point of why he should be considered and potentially get the job for the next Razorback head coach. Now, let's get into why he should not. And Grant, I will go back to you. Before that gets started, I will say this. DeMarcus Love is in here. Grant, I didn't know this, that you and Cook were both coached by Silverfield while he was an offensive line coach at Minnesota. I'll ask you about his approach when it comes to the type of style of football he has, even though I have it in my notes. But I'll ask you firsthand what he was like on a day-to-day basis, because I don't think there's any closer relationship than an offensive line coach and the offensive line group. So very curious to see what that's like. But go ahead and tell me why Coach Petrino should not be the head coach at the University of Arkansas.
Okay, so couple of things here, right? So one is, can Coach Petrino get out of his own way and get somebody on defense that is going to take that side of the ball over, right? We all played for him. We understand how he is. He likes his fingerprint on everything. He wants it done his way. There's some benefit to that, but I do think in where we're at today, with the Pete Goldings of the world and golly, the guy's name at Ole Miss, I can't remember, but you've got to hand the side of the ball off, right? So if you look at a defensive-minded head coach, they're going to take the defense and run with it. They get a really good offensive coordinator. You can look at Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin back in the days when Alabama was winning all those championships. Can he do that? Can he relinquish that side of the ball and let it go? And just let that defensive coordinator run the defense and let him focus on the offense and go put up points and let somebody over there put a domineering defense in place. That I would have if I was Hunter Yurachek or anybody that is going to interview Coach Petrino for this head coach job is, what are you going to do with the defense? And so secondly is we're talking about NIL and how much better he would be in the recruiting process when it comes to NIL. But the one question I would have is the fan base and the boosters going to be excited by this hire and want to inject NIL money into the program? It's great if you can go pay kids and get them here and coach up the talent that you have, but you've got to have a coach that excites everyone and wants them to come pour in these dollars. I don't know if Coach Petrino does that personally. I think that maybe you get some people that are interested and some people that aren't, and you're not going to win every single fan over with whatever hire that you make. But that would be the one question I have is I agree. I think Coach Petrino in a more business-like college football setting probably gives you a better chance to get some recruits in here, but we've got to have the dollars to do it. So it sounds great. It sounds like that he would be more successful in that scenario, but will he be if he doesn't have the dollars to go get the kids we need?
Josh, what you got?
Yeah, I think argument to why he maybe should not be the head coach. I think definitely this audition needs to produce wins, right? He has not won a game. But the good thing is, DJ, there's still games to play. I think you go down to LSU and you win. Obviously, that changes the narrative. But as of right now, the argument for him not to be the head coach and to continue your coaching search is the fact that he has not won a game. You know, obviously should have won the Mississippi State game, Auburn game too. Two games where we have been at the end and still cannot find a way to win, even with him as a head coach. And I won't deny somebody that argument, but I'm just not going to give the entire reason as to why Arkansas is where they are today on Bobby Petrino. The other reason is he's 64. I mean, that's an issue, right? Like, when you're hiring a coach, how long are you trying to envision them being at your school? Is this a guy you're trying to 7 to 10 year runway? So are we 74 or 71 when he's retiring? I mean, what's the plan there? Is he more of a bridge coach to get us to that next head coach position? If that's the case, I mean, maybe you can look at this coaching hire a few different ways. You know, you've got the previous kind of issues with him at Arkansas, but I think we've moved past that. When we hired him as the offensive coordinator, that's done and gone. You could say that his Louisville time ended ugly after he had the Lamar Jackson years in 2018. I mean, they really fell off. You could kind of make that argument there. But you could even make the argument that the SEC is not the same as it was back when he played, because when we played in the SEC under Bobby Petrino, Oklahoma wasn't in the SEC. Texas wasn't in the SEC. Was Missouri in the SEC back then? I'm not sure.
No.
There's a lot has changed, and that's even harder with recruiting. Back then, it used to be like, hey, stay close to your mama and come over here and play in the SEC. And guess what? It's an easy ride back home. Now you've got all this competition that's just within the same distance of your family. Changes things a little bit. And, the other argument is that it would split the fan base, because there are some people out there that are just kind of staunchly against Bobby Petrino being the head coach. And you really, in a perfect world, as an athletic director, you want to have somebody that your fan base is excited about entirely and your boosters are on board with as well. So there's arguments to be made. But again, I think that's all arguments that can be made when you're just looking at that side of the coin, because I think that, again, this job doesn't attract the nation's best coaches as if it's this catalyst to go and win and become a Hall of Fame college coach. I don't think that that's Arkansas. Arkansas is every 3 to 4 years, you're taking a shot at that 10-win, 11-win season, maybe with the college football playoffs making a run, but then rebuilding for a couple of years with the 7 and 8-win season and going back after that 10+ win season. So I think that's where your mindset needs to be, and Bobby's a guy who's done it.
Me on why he should not be the head coach. Ooh. I feel like he's like staring at me over there or something right now. I don't know. I'm curious to see if the guy that we remembered is he still as sharp as we remember as well. I've been back and forth about a guy, when you say statistically, Josh, is leading the nation when it comes to total yards and offense in Taylon Green, okay? And so that's hard to argue. But at the same point, when you go back and watch in the moments that matter, I think Taylon Green, for the most part, has struggled getting the ball out on time, decision making here. How many fourth downs? I mean, the Tennessee game that we won last year, if you go back and watch it, we missed 3 opportunities, 2 to convert a 4th and 1, and then have another throw for an end zone. Easily could have lost that game just based off of so many times we've seen on tape, like, what are you thinking? And then that just takes me back to now that it is the portal era, it is the NIL era. You know that Taylon Green specifically was sought out by Coach Petrino. And Coach Petrino's biggest friend that gives him a lot of money and say, hey, what player do you want? And you invest $1 million+ in a guy that, in my opinion, is when you look at the stats, I would say they were front-loaded with the first 2 weeks out of the year. I mean, that's where the bulk of those stats come from. And then in the games that matter, when you get to the SEC and it comes down to these crucial decisions, we've seen Taylon play at an extremely high level, but the consistency is what makes me really question, man, the Coach Petrino, I know, does not settle for inconsistent play at the quarterback position. But he is all in on this guy. And it sounds like I'm trying to hate on him. I am. But at the same time, I think we all have to step back and call a spade a spade. We are 2-7 right now. And then when your chips are all in a Coach Petrino-driven program, it's all going to be, it starts with and ends with the quarterback position. And the thing about it is when you look at recruits and you hear rumors of, guys that could come here and potentially be good candidates for the next quarterback job, you hear it seems like Coach Petrino is almost looking for his next Lamar Jackson. That's what it seems like, because you and I both, we all know when he went to Louisville, we're thinking, how is he going to coach Lamar Jackson? Because we know for his offense to work at its best, you're going to need somebody who can sit back here and pick it all apart and then tell everyone else what to do. And I just, when it comes to talent evaluation, I think that is going to be crucial for the next head coach. I know we got a whole staff that's going to be looking at all this other stuff, but your head coach has to be involved with those. And sometimes I'm just kind of back and forth about some of the guys that he has brought here personally when you go into the portal that he's very high on, and they just, in my opinion, haven't panned out, at least for the money that we are paying them. So I don't know. And then the thing that I think separated him was almost a fear factor when we played. There was zero room for nonchalant play. There was zero room for not knowing what you're supposed to do. There was zero room for not taking it serious in practice. It was like we were on edge at all times, but it worked for us. And I don't know if he can do that nowadays because people will just leave. I do think he is a great person at developing talent, but getting that talent to stay here, unless we have a huge bag to give to these guys, hopefully it pans out, I don't know if it'll work. So, but the thing is, that's my knock on Petrino, but that could literally be the knock on every other coach we're about to talk about, okay? Mm-hmm. So we said why he should and why he should not. Now I'm going to go ahead and let y'all go. Before I let y'all go, Grant, I do want to ask about Ryan Silverfield. That's who I'm about to talk about next. We're going to go over Ryan Silverfield, we're going to go over James Franklin, and we're going to go over Alex Golesh over there at South Florida. Ryan Silverfield is a offensive line guy, okay? I didn't know that until I started doing all this research. You played for him at Minnesota when you were with the Vikings. Offensive-minded, run-first type coach. That's his approach. If you watch Memphis, that's exactly what you see. What do you think about him personally?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good dude. He was the assistant offensive line coach when D Love and I were up there. And I mean, I spent a lot of time in Mankato, Minnesota at Minnesota State University going through a playbook that, like you guys know, in the NFL, you get picked up, it's midstream, you got to learn the playbook and apply the playbook immediately the next day. And so I spent a lot of time with him trying to learn that playbook and get the Minnesota offense under my belt. But no, great guy. And to your point, I mean, he's an offensive line guy. He's a hard-nosed, no nonsense, don't necessarily care what it looks like. Let's go get the job done kind of dude. So it is intriguing. And I think that is a brand of football that you can win with. But there's a lot of unknowns, I think, with Coach Silverfield. He's done it at Memphis, which is great. But can you get the guys here that you need to do it with in the SEC? And I think that's going to be the question for a lot of these P5 schools, I think they call them Group of Five, the smaller conferences, are they going to be able to get it done in the SEC? Is it going to be an experiment again that we've already all been through multiple times at Arkansas? But, Coach Silverfield is a dude, great guy. I think he would bring some energy to the program, but I guess that just all remains to be seen.
Yeah, a strength of his that I got in here, and it's the same strength for each of these coaches I'm about to talk about, is program manager, delivers stability, recruits, and develops players. Is that even a thing nowadays? Do you need to have a head coach?
If you can keep them.
I mean, I would say that's the tough part, is developing them and keeping them here. I mean, it's tough nowadays. So that'll be interesting and see what these coaches can get figured out moving forward. Fellas, I appreciate you. Before I let you go, I need to know what's coming up for us a little bit later this week, all right? So it is the bye week. We kind of took this week off a little bit, but Arkansas playing LSU, going on the road, a weird kickoff time, 11:45. But the thing is, Grant, you told me we took a look at a freshman, redshirt freshman, right tackle, but you said you were going to dig a little bit more into the freshman center and potentially, hopefully not too much so he doesn't get poached and leave somewhere. But you got that coming up for us tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we'll take a look at it and dive into that a little bit. So some of the younger guys that got some action against Mississippi State based on injuries and all that, we'll break them down, take a look at kind of what the future looks like at the offensive line position. So, again, not too deep. We don't want anybody coming after them. But yeah, we'll launch that out tomorrow.
And we said the thing about it is it actually looks pretty good. Something, if there was a Ryan Silverfield, would probably be pretty excited to inherit here at the University of Arkansas, and no telling who he would bring along with him. Matt's not with us tonight. Matt will give us a little something when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. Maybe look at a couple guys that are starting to get some playing time to potentially see what their futures look like. But, Josh, you got to scout them up for us. Like you said, you feel like it would help Coach Petrino's case to get some wins with the remainder of this schedule. What does it look like when it comes to scout them up for the LSU game down in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, DJ, I don't think that you can even discount a Petrino win right now at LSU, even with, LSU facing the challenges that they've been facing this season. So we're going to take a look into that game, what to expect. And I am crossing my fingers that I can get LSU's Chad Yos on this Friday to talk to us a little bit more about some of the issues that LSU is facing, maybe some of the guys that we still need to watch out for on that LSU team. So expect to see a nice little scout 'em up segment, maybe with a special guest this Friday.
Yeah, speaking of this weekend, fellas, that's still up in the air. Farmers Market shut down. We usually go up to the Farmers Market, do our pregame show there. We're working on some things. It's just a weird start time to go somewhere and do a pregame show if it's not going to be down in Baton Rouge. But we'll hash that out later. One last thing, Monday Night Football matchup today. The Philadelphia Eagles taking on them Green Bay Packers. Who you got in this one? I don't know the line. I can't find my phone. I've been looking for it for like 15 minutes. What do we got?
I looked at it earlier, and I think the line was like literal zero. Like, I mean, it was just a straight up pick 'em.
Okay. Well, then I'm taking the Eagles with the tush push for the victory.
Where's the game at?
I'm not sure.
At Green Bay.
1 point Eagles. Eagles 1 point favorite heading into this one. And the game is it's in Lambeau Field. It's at Lambeau Field. All right, so Eagles coming to a 1 point favorite. Josh, you got the Eagles in the tush push. Grant?
Dun, 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 dun. Go, Pack, go!
Yeah, there it is. Go, Pack, go the Cocos. Yeah.
Go, Pack, go. It's going to be a cold one up there outside at Lambeau.
Oh, it's going to be cold. Yes, it is. I see Jason Kelsey with who's that? Marcus Spears up there right now. They're getting ready for the pregame. Everybody has their hoodies on, their beanies on. It's going to be a chilly one, so that'll be fun. So, fellas, thank y'all so much for hanging out. I'm about to go ahead and get to these coaches, and we're going to start with Ryan Silverfield.
DJ, before we go, man, I need your that's the little dun, 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 dun. What is it at Green Bay? The little song they play and then say "Go Pack Go." I need your rendition of it right now.
Right now, after the stands get there, they said dun 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 dun. Go, Pack, go. I mean, I remember when I was in Green Bay, I was at the grocery store. They said, do you want the receipt in the big? I was like, the what? Yeah,
Big?
yeah, they say stuff all weird up there, but it's cool, man. I loved it up there, man. I'd live up there. Going to Cocos. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good one, man. Appreciate y'all hanging out. It's Grant Cook, Josh Throne. All right, y'all. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about these next potential head coaching candidates for the University of Arkansas. So I posted earlier this week. Once again, I'll revisit that. Who do you want? All right, so real quick, as you take a look at the poll results from this past week, John Summerall and Eric Morris, as far as the fans are concerned, kind of dropped off. And like I said, Twitter didn't allow me to put in an extra person, so I had to pair Franklin and Silverfield together. I'm not sure the split there. And so I'm going to repost this and also add Alex Golesh. But based off the comments of what I have heard, it looks like the fans are leaning more towards Coach Petrino. And then you got Coach Franklin, Coach Silverfield, and Golesh. So let's get into it. I'm reading the comments right now. And once again, this is what's tough. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. People I don't know. I don't know. Y'all are all over the place, but I get it, and I understand. I know some people are just like, y'all are idiots to think that Coach Petrino has a shot. And then you got other people saying y'all are idiots to think that Coach Petrino should not be there. And then you got people going for Golesh. You got people going for – and I understand. And I think this is what comes with the coaching search. So, once again, have fun in the chat room. Send me more recommendations, more people, more points that maybe we're missing. If you know something we don't know, we understand this. We can only research so much. If you know something about a specific candidate or maybe an angle we're not looking at, please leave it in the comment. We always go back and try to read these and address those in another show. So thanks for being a part of it and keep it going. I mean, we are rocking in the comment section right now. But let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to start with good old Mr. Silverfield. And as we go ahead and take a look at him, I'm going to let you know what he has on tap. All right. So let me go ahead and pull this up real quick, big screen. He is going to, there goes his track record. He was at Hampton, then he was at Sydney College, then at UCF, then Minnesota, as you just heard, as an offensive line assistant. That was back in 2008 and 2013. Then he was with the Detroit Lions for 2015, and then from 2016 to now over there with Memphis, doing a really good job over there at Memphis. I think a lot of people understand that. So what type of coach are we getting? He is a run-first guy, offensive-minded approach, and that's exactly what they're going to bring to the table. And I think we have potentially a couple clips of what he's going to be bringing to the table. So let's go ahead and pull up a few of those. He likes to run the ball, but he's going to mix it in with a little pro-style type offense where he's going to, use the run to build up the opportunities for the play-action pass. I mean, how many times do we have to say this? But for sure, extremely more run heavy. Let's talk about some of the good winning seasons that he has. A couple bowl games, beating a couple Power 5 opponents, a couple 10-win seasons. He's done it all. But I would say the really cool strength and big thing about him would be the turnover that he had from when Mike Norvell was at Memphis. As soon as he took over, you didn't see much drop-off from this guy. He was able to keep the momentum going, keep the pace going, keep all those guys kind of moving in not necessarily Norvell's direction, but not falling off from what he built, but then put his own little flavor to it. And you can see these guys really bought in. But once again, an extremely run-first team. And now the questionable things is the inconsistency in in-game decision-making in crucial situations. That's what a lot of people are starting to see that pop up. A couple aggressive two-point conversions, a couple decisions on quarterback rotation, maybe benching some players that leaves a lot of people trying to figure out, well, what's going on here? Now, the thing is, you can't really argue what he has going on when you get a couple 10-win seasons, all right? So you got to coach when it comes to recommendations on what could potentially help him moving forward when it comes to add a little bit more to the passing game. I mean, he does run a lot, super heavy with it. He needs to add a little bit more downfield attacks to make sure that people just don't load the box and stop him from running all day. Also, you got to tighten up situational protocols. Struggled a little bit with 2-minute, fourth down, late game go decisions. He needs to build some agreement between himself and the coaching staff about what to do in those crucial moments, in those crucial situations. And I would say his biggest thing that he needs to work on is developing quarterbacks. That's usually what happens when you lean heavy on the run game. You don't necessarily put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to that quarterback. But that will be a thing. So pretty much in short, you got a fundamentally sound coach. He's going to be a run-first guy, proving he can keep mid-major program winning and be competitive and going to a bowl game and developing players. Clear strength or trench play. You got to love that. Program stability. I would absolutely love that. And so that's going to be the thing that kind of has me a little worried. All those things sound great, especially at that level. But when you make the trip on over here to the SEC, we have seen it before with these coaches who have something that work one place, and when they have the personnel that can make it happen, especially for an offensive-minded or an offensive line-minded coach and a run-first coach, you have to have the big boys up front and that trench play that we just talked about that can get the job done. Now, I think Arkansas has done a great job improving the offensive line from last year to this year. And what it looks like to be, if these guys stick around and they don't transfer, if Silverfield is the guy next year, he will be inheriting something that he can really work with and build on. Because we all know if you have a team that can run the ball and control the game, you're always going to be in a situation where you have an opportunity to win a football game. We've seen that so many times. And the thing about it is all these coaches have so many contrasting styles. And so let's get into a couple things. I talked to you about some strengths. Now, these are a couple things when I talk about this coach that a lot of people have criticized before in the past, okay? So this is going to be Memphis taking on West Virginia. This is in the Frisco Bowl. You see Memphis right here record. They're 10-2 on the year. They are up right now 42-37. It's a 2nd and 10. They do a great job getting the ball back. And what's this again? A run-heavy team. And they get past the 50-yard line. They're about the 39-yard line right now. And then they go 3 plays. They don't get anything going. And so this is what you get with Silverfield. This is one thing that has popped up a lot. Decision-making in these crunch moments. And when the game matters, it's a 4th and 3 right here. You're up 5 points. A field goal here, that be it a 50-yard field goal, puts you up by 1 possession, 8 points, okay? That gives time for Virginia to get the ball back and then go down, try to score, and then go for 2. However, you know, they're up against it. They have no timeouts, 56 seconds left on the clock. And so he got criticized for not going for it here on 4th and 3. That just kind of takes me back to when Arkansas was playing LSU. It was my senior year. We're down there at War Memorial Stadium. It was, God, what is it, a 4th and 3? It may have been a 4th and 3. And we ran that double move with Joe Adams. And I remember we're in that huddle. And Coach Petrino looked at everybody. And it was one of those situations, should we punt? Should we do this? And he looked at everybody and he says, let's go win the damn game. You know, and making that aggressive play call, putting the ball into your players' hands and trusting them. And I'm thinking a running team, you go out here and win the game. You get 3 yards, the game is over, okay? He ends up missing this one right here. And then I want to say now they did go and do a good job. They ended up having some weird stuff happen. Even though West Virginia was pushing it, they ended up having an interception, then got fumbled, and then there was a controversial call that took the ball away from West Virginia at the end of the game. So even though they won in these situations, I think when you get here to this conference, especially with what we have, in those situations, you're just going to need to make sure that you have somebody who's comfortable enough of pulling the trigger. Here's another game right here as I pause it. This is Memphis taking on UAB. At this point, Memphis is undefeated, 6-0, ranked here in the country, and they're down in the 4th quarter, and they had a great run up the middle, and they thought they were about to tie it up, but the guy came down short. So let's get into these situations. I think this is something a lot of Arkansas fans we have unfortunately become accustomed to, of being in situations where everything is set up for you to win and you don't find a way to pull the game out, okay? So right here, 1st and goal, 47 seconds left. All you need to do is score, kick a field goal, push this thing to overtime against a team that has 0 wins in conference, 2-4, and UAB. Memphis ranked 22 at the halfway through the season. 1st and goal, you get a discipline penalty, takes him back. Then you get down to this play, a great concept, and you just miss it. So now you get yourself into another situation on the 1-yard line, and then you get into making sure that your guys are prepared for this moment, okay? Another miscommunication between the center and the quarterback. You end up having another false start. Now it's 3rd and goal. And this is where it gets interesting. When I look at play development, are you calling the right play? When you're in the situations, do you have coaches who can make the right play? They shoot this guy in motion, okay? And you got to think this is a run-heavy team. So I think when you go into the bag of their pass concepts, it's probably not as big as most teams. And so you have limited things to watch for on the defensive side of the ball if you're forced to throw the ball. This guy comes in motion, and you don't see anybody following him, right? Remember how I used to say those are big indicators for man-to-man coverage? And so the thing is, you don't have that indication of man-to-man coverage. And so I think it's actually not a bad play. You have a delayed release from this receiver right here, expecting that if it is zone, that delayed release gives time for everything to open up. But I think UAB just had a good play call right here. It ended up being a form of man, and this safety does a great job coming down on the ball and making a play on it. And then you get to a 4th and goal, and the thing is now the play clock runs out. You get a delay of game penalty. Another situation where you're out of timeouts. How can you operate under pressure? After that 3rd down didn't go, are you as a coaching staff, do you have the next play ready so you don't find yourself in a situation to have a delay a game and push it back even further? Pops up with 19 seconds left on the clock, not having that play ready to go, push it back. And then at the very end, you just, like I said, in a run-heavy team, you don't have like these elaborate play designs where, you see it develop and you're like, wow, that was a really cool play. It's going to be those fades to the end zone. So I said, once again, a little knock is adding a little bit more to his passing game when you can't rely on the run. And I just worry starting off in the SEC, depending on what stays and what goes and what back you get in, Braylon Russell, will he stick around? There's no telling, all right? He's a flight risk. We saw that last year, okay? We know that we're losing Mike Washington. It's his last year. Who's going to be that next guy coming up if Braylon doesn't stick around? I mean, so many question marks and a lot to ask of a coach who is going to try to build his program with running the ball depending on what talent he has. When you face the Ole Misses and the Georgias and the Alabamas and the LSU. Yes, those programs, some of them aren't what they used to be, especially LSU and then Ole Miss up front. But all those other ones, that's going to be every single week. And if you're going to try to beat them at what they're great at, it's going to be a very tall task trying to do well in the SEC. So that's just a few things on Ryan Silverfield. I will say overall, very impressed with his track record. Now, he just lost this past weekend to Tulane, where John Summerall is, another potential candidate for the Arkansas job. Probably lost their area or their spot for the college football playoffs. But once again, his strengths, he can build a program. Definitely can get to bowl game situations. He's a big emphasize the fundamentals, especially up front. And I will say, if we were to focus on anything, I know we like the flashy cars and all the big-time receivers and quarterbacks and all that stuff. I just want us to be solid in the trenches. That's where it all starts. How many times have we seen these Alabama teams that up front, it didn't matter what anyone else did. The game was going to be won up front regardless. I think it gives you room for error when it comes to maybe receivers making the wrong cut or you don't have that much talent. When you got a defensive line and an offensive line that can get it done, it's going to give you a chance in just about every single ball game that you play on. So I think Ryan Silverfield is a good candidate for the job. I think his strength of program building and recruiting, it's going to be interesting in this world of college football if you don't have the money to support him. So y'all listening right now, I'm very curious. Do you think a hire like Silverfield will bring in the support when it comes to having a lot of money coming into this program? All right, so y'all hop into our chat and let me know that. We're going to take our first break. On the other side, I got some notes on James Franklin, a couple breakdowns of, I would say, a very good coach. But when it comes to the big moment, I'm starting to see what people are talking about. I didn't pay much attention to Penn State football, but if I'm a Penn State alum, if I were playing Michigan or Ohio State, I feel your pain. Guy struggles in that area for sure. We're also going to take a look over there at that head coach at South Florida. We will be right back after this break.
I bet they run the ball right here. Well, you former Razorbacks think you're so smart, don't you? What? Well, if you are so smart, why don't you put your money where your mouth is? Wager on the Oaklawn Sports app. It's the best in-game wagering available in the state. Maybe use that football brain of yours to bet on this next play. Plus your favorite games. It's that easy. Yes! See? You should have took the bet.
Bet on any game all season long with Oaklawn Sports, Arkansas's best sports betting app.
You might not know us yet, but around here, we're building something different. Southwest Auto Collection in Arkadelphia is more than just a dealership. With a full service department, on-site body shop, and brands you trust, Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, we're built to take care of you long after the sale. And when you keep up your service with us, we'll cover your tires for life. Honest deals, real service, and value that's worth the drive. Southwest Auto Collection. Your road starts here.
Hey, you're not in high school anymore, but that knee still remembers that state championship. And that shoulder, well, it's been off since that game-winning drive. At Ortho Arkansas, they see it all the time. Old injuries that never fully healed, finally sneaking up on us. But here's the good news. It's never too late to get back into the things you love. Whether it's running, lifting, coaching, or just keeping up with your kids, their sports medicine team is there to help you move forward without pain holding you back. Fellowship-trained physicians, personalized recovery plans, care that's built around your goals. Because once an athlete, always an athlete. Ortho Arkansas, for plays that still matter. Sorry, I'm chewing my sandwich. Welcome back to the Mainline Sports Bar. I'm hungry, y'all. I take a quick little break. All right, welcome back in as we take a look at moving along. When it comes to, I guess somebody just said, what program has he built? This kid, Silverfield, let me rephrase that. He's really good, even though he took over from Mike Norvell. Looking at his track record and the places that he's been, he's really good at developing the interior of these teams, okay? And in my opinion, that is a really big indication of somebody who can build a program, because I just believe it starts up front. And yes, that's coming from a tight end who loves to catch the ball. But it doesn't matter if you don't have the big boys up front to get the stuff going in the right direction. So in the comments, as I kind of pull these up right here, Ron Watt, what's up? Offer Franklin, Summerall, Golesh, then Bobby in that order. Will be fine with either of those coaches. Okay, this is coming from a former Razorback, all right? That's what he wants to get going. We got other people in comments asking David Basil to be the athletic director. Thoughts on that? I've heard that quite a few times. Y'all keep on coming through. Let's go and take a look at good old James Franklin. That's who we got next, all right? So once again, let's go ahead and take a look at his path real quick when it comes to some football. 2000 started in Maryland. He was there from 2000 to 2005. Then he was at Kansas State. The big one that we remember him for was at Vanderbilt. That was the job he had before heading on over to Penn State from 2014 to 2025. He just got fired this year. But when you look at this guy, man, the history of him, I mean, let's go through a couple of these. Forgot to do this on my last one right here. Take a look at his track record. His strengths and his style, recruiting and player development. I've said that so many times, y'all. Is that still going to be a thing? I will say a name like him, and I think his personality, and you saw the reaction of his players after he left, I think he's one of the few who has the ability to do that out of the candidates that we have on our list right now. Then you have that pro spread. He's an offensive first type guy, program builder, fundamental when it comes to his approach to building his programs. Also, too, let's go ahead and take a look at a few things. Turning points. He likes to turn programs around. Consistency, instability, and adaptable scheme. I would say he reminds me, as I was kind of digging a little bit more into it, when it comes to his approach and, you know, the culture of a program and all these things, kind of reminds me of a Houston Nut. I will say it. All these things that we kind of talk about, you know, he will change the offense depending on the personnel that he has, rely on a coordinator to come in, help out. You know, as much as I want to say probably offense first, but very close to making sure the defense is right up to par. They've had some very good players come out of the draft, some good defenses as well. And you can't deny year in and year out, Penn State always in the conversation, but it's getting over that hurdle is his big thing. Let's go and take a look at a couple clips as I go through good old James Franklin. Franklin has stressed the importance of program culture, discipline, preparation, and continuity. At the same time, some critics argue that when the margin is tight, especially in the big games or high stakes, his team's situational execution and the decisions, well, they lag behind the elite. I think that's ultimately what got him fired. Now, what he does well, I will say consistency. Can't deny that. Multiple seasons with double-digit wins, competitive teams year in and year out, kept Penn State near the top of the Big Ten for most of his time there. Adaptability to scheme. He has a mix of run pass, different formations, rather than having, that one coach who just does what he does no matter who he's playing against. I think in the SEC, you have to have somebody who can adapt to the team that you play each and every week. Where he's drawn criticism, I can't say this enough. We can just go through a few of those of some examples of some bad or some questionable coaching decisions, and I'll go ahead and pull some of those up right now as we take a look at Mr. Franklin over here. So let me go back over here. If you're a Michigan fan, if you're an Ohio State fan, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, because when it comes to the record against those teams, I had that pulled up somewhere. Is it in a slide? Maybe in a slide? It's not. Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. It's kind of bad. Let me go through some of this film real quick, and I'll take a look at the record against those teams. It's not good by any means. And like I said, a coach that will give you the ability to win, 8 games, 9 wins. I think we definitely have that in this option. But winning the big one, it is tough. Let me go ahead and take this down real quick, and I'll take a look at some of these plays. So let's go on over, take a look at Mr. Franklin. This is going to be his play breakdown, okay? So let me pick back up where we left off. That's the Memphis tape. So questionable decisions and inconsistency in his approach, I think, has a lot of Penn State fans in a spot of, I get it. But at the same time, me being a Razorback fan, I'm like, Penn State, are y'all not happy with always being in the conversation and winning 8 games here, 9 games there, 10 games there? Hell, last year, you were one play or a couple plays away from going to the national championship. What are you mad about? All right. But, man, the big ones, man. You get to a situation where you're playing Michigan, okay? You're playing against Penn State's playing against Michigan. It's a 4th and 2 right now, all right? Third quarter about wrapped up. And if you go back and watch this game and check out the momentum of this game, you're in a situation where I think most people in that stadium wanted him to go for it, okay? He elects to punt it right here and play it safe. Now, the thing about it is, I think if he's not playing Michigan, based off the stuff that I've seen and the tape that I've watched trying to learn more about him, I think he pulls the trigger right here. I don't know what it is about these other teams that just kind of gets in his head. Maybe it's that you lose and lose time and time after these teams, and maybe you start getting in your head a little bit and you start playing it safe. So he elects to go for it on a 4th and 2, which is fascinating because, like I said, this is essentially the 4th quarter. It's the very end of the 3rd. He doesn't go for it on that 4th and 2, but then he decides to go for it on a 4th and 6. Scores the exact same. You're in a situation, especially where he is. He's on his side of the line, or he was in much better field position earlier. But the thing about it is, when you look on tape, I look for situational football. When the game is on the line, what are we doing? How many times have we shown this when watching Arkansas film? Okay, you need to make sure that you have a coach that has his guys prepped and ready to go when the game is on the line. Every time we've said, when we watch Taylon Green, when the defensive backfield starts stacking these DBs, you're going to find yourself in a situation where it's a big indicator where pressure is coming from. So will they pick it up? All right, so as we press play right here, you can see that guy coming off the edge comes completely unblocked, okay? I think Michigan showed everything pre-snap to make sure that they're in a situation to be poised and pick this up right here. Game on the line, finally trying to just give Michigan a run for their money, and then you have a guy who will go completely unblocked. That's one part of this, okay? The situation where Coach Petrino was talking about that first interception that Taylon Green threw against Auburn, he said it's blue, all right? This is the same concept, an out route and a fade on the outside. The thing about it is, on that out route, if this guy catches it coming downhill, he's short of the first down marker, okay? That's the second thing. Let's get to the third thing. I don't even know if the quarterback knows what this guy's doing or the receiver doesn't know what he's doing, because the quarterback throws it to nobody. So you just talk about in these crunch time situations, okay, or when it's the biggest games, and this has been his MO for a little bit, all right? Just so much miscommunication, a lot of confusion out on the football field. When you have to have it, receivers running the wrong route or quarterbacks not knowing what the receivers are doing, and you're not in a situation to make sure that a very simple blitz is picked up, okay? This is just one example of, I think, not having your guys ready to go in those big-time games. All right, I'll take a look at another example. I know a lot of y'all may remember this one. Up by 3, playing Michigan. This is 2 years later, and then they attempt the fake field goal, okay? So my thing is, fake field goals, cool. They're fine, whatever. I know a lot of fans are just like, The thing about it is, as a coach, when you go into these games and you start doing stuff like this, the element of surprise is the number one thing of trying to pull these off. The team can't expect it to come, okay? Well, DJ, how do you know that they're expecting the fake field goal? I don't know. Maybe because he did a fake punt earlier just before this, and then they got it. As soon as they ran that fake punt, and then they converted it for a first down. Now, from here on out, for the rest of the game, they're going to make sure that nothing else gets faked. You almost only have one of those in your bag per game. And so very interesting that you pull it off so quickly just after you convert a successful fake special teams play. Now, you see him on the sideline. I'll give him this, all right? He threw it behind him. He threw it behind him. I will give him this, okay? When you call it up right, you want to make sure it's done right. Ball's thrown a little short. Okay, the kicker had to come back and grab it, okay? However, this is a kicker, all right? Watch how fast these other guys pursue to this ball. I don't know if it would have mattered, all right? If he would have thrown it out in front of him or not. I think they were on high alert to be all over that, and so questionable decision there. I know a lot of people, once again, when it comes to James Franklin, they're just trying to figure out, and those big-time moments, how come they can't get it figured out or settled up. And I think those are just a few examples, I think, when it comes to coaching decisions that are very questionable. David, you looked up the record against Ohio State and Michigan. I don't have my phone. What were the records on those again? You can just say it to me. What you got? Go ahead and pull your mic up real quick. Uh-oh. Guy in the chair. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Mike.
There it is. All right, what we got?
All right, so he's 3-7 against Michigan. Against Michigan and Ohio State combined, he's 4-16.
Whew.
He is also 4-21 against top 10 teams.
4-21 against top 10 teams.
Correct.
This is where I want to ask my because I will say this, looking at this, when he plays against lesser opponents, he really does have a good track record of having a very strong performance, okay? And I say that Arkansas, sometimes they have played down to their competition, and they ended up losing games that they're not supposed to lose, but it's just these tough games. And so I'm very curious to know, Razorback fans, would y'all be okay with a guy that'll get you 8 to 9 wins? I would, and I don't know if I'm setting my bar low, but just based off what we have done over the past decade, I think that would be amazing. Now, over there at Penn State, that's why when he got fired, I'm not going to lie, I was shocked because I was trying to figure out, Penn State, who are you going to get, all right? Who are you going to get that's going to do better? Because you still got to play against Ohio State, and you're still going to do Michigan every single year. I don't think James Franklin is the reason that he's not able to win those big games, and sometimes he pulls them off, sometimes he doesn't. I don't know, man, but Kevin just said no. We would be back at square one. That's a tough one, man. And they did lose to Arkansas in a bowl game. I forgot about that. Where's that at right there? This is from Boss Hog. I can't read it. Y'all get it. He did lose to Arkansas in a bowl game. I do remember that. Big time outing. I think Andrew Corliss was playing in that game. What bowl game was that? Can y'all help me remember that one? So that's James Franklin. Like I said, overall, when it comes to his approach to the game, I see a coach who's been there before. I see a coach where the SEC I don't think would be too big for him. I think the popularity aspect would definitely help in recruiting. But once again, it's going to come down to the money, because if not, he's going to find himself in the exact same situation he is at Penn State, of dealing with teams that just have, I would say, talent that's on par, if not better. And can he compete in those high games and bring that culture week in and week out? which it just depends on our expectations as fans. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the last coach before I bring Zach Gillum on here after the break. The one that's been popping up a lot, Alex Golesh. And this guy, he's an interesting one. I'll give you that. He was not on my radar until a lot of people started putting him into my comment section. And the more and more I read about this guy, I get it. I get why people are doing this. And I didn't know that his wife is from Greenwood, Arkansas. Okay. I've always been about those Arkansas ties. But let's go ahead and take a look at his track record real quick as I bring this up. Here's the journey of Mr. Golesh over there at South Florida. He was in Toledo 2009 and 2011. He went to Illinois, Iowa State, Tennessee is what a lot of people remember him from, that high-powered offense that they had. And then he at USF until now. And I'll say this dude, he does fit the mold when it comes to turning a program around. I mean, this guy right here, he switched from multiple losing seasons to a winning season and a bowl victory. His ability to change the trajectory of a program in its first year, and that was his first year, doing it in such a big way. Now, what does he bring to the table? This dude is fast tempo, and by fast tempo, I mean this dude is rolling. Heavy run RPO. He likes the option route concepts, recruiting, player development. We talked about that a lot. He is aggressive, y'all. He's going to pull that trigger no matter what. He's going to go. Once again, he excelled at programs, explosive offense. And I would say probably my favorite thing about him, the dude loves the tight end position. Loves the tight end position. All right, so obviously Arkansas, I think, does well when they have a pretty dynamic tight end on the field. That's just me thinking. Now, I will say the thing about this type of offense, it comes with a level of predictability, especially against elite opponents. One-dimensional tempo is a big-time risk that you can find yourself in a hole real quick if things don't work out. Had a couple little controversial little skirmishes here or there. I think it's just building some juice. I'm not the biggest I'm not too mad about that. But let's go ahead and take a look at a few of the clips of this guy right here. I talked about that high-tempo offense that he's bringing to the table with Golesh. Like I said, a lot of people know his track record at Tennessee. Is this being pulled up? You see that on there? Huh, interesting. It's not being pulled up on the big screen. Having a little technical issue. Oh, can you do the little thingy? USB port? Give me a little jiggle. Can you hear me? Sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. Having a little film issue right now. Uh-oh. Come back. Waiting on it. I'll just keep talking about him as we kind of get that figured out. There it is. Oh, messing up again. We got a little glitch. We got a little gremlin in our board. It's going back and forth. Uh-oh. That's going to be bad, y'all. We got some issues with that. Anyway, all right, let's get to it. You may have to just hold it for a little bit. So once again, a high-tempo, fast offense is what what Golesh brings to the table. Now, the thing is, are we learning this from the Heupel offense that he is going on at Tennessee? Did he bring that over to South Florida? I don't know, but a very impressive start to the season. Now, the thing about his approach and his style, which I think could potentially be good for Arkansas, I think Arkansas, that connection is just bad. I think at Arkansas, what he's going to struggle with is the talent to run this type of offense, okay? And the thing about it is, if it does get figured out and you start playing some opponents who are really good up front, this RPO stuff, if it's not performed with perfection, it can really put you in a bad spot, especially as quick as he likes to go. I'm talking 14 seconds after that play happens that they're back on the ball trying to get another snap in. That's one of the most fast-paced offenses in all of college football. The thing about it is what comes with that, these guys have to know the ins and outs of it. You have to have, chemistry. You have to have experience. In today's landscape of college football, especially in this conference, I think in order for him to do well, he's going to need 3-year players. He's going to need guys, quarterback who's on their 4th year, learning the intricacies of this offense. He needs an offensive line that's been together for a couple years. I mean, especially on that offensive side of the ball, I mean, you're going to have multiple positions, and you can't have this turnover of what we're used to seeing in today's landscape. I don't think he runs into that issue a lot from the short time he's been at South Florida, but that's just a new thing in the SEC, and it's not just Arkansas it's happening to. Even so many of these big-time college coaches are dealing with players in the portal and out of the portal every single year. I think that's just going to be a very hard thing to build here. I like his approach. I love that he's a big fan of the tight end. I like that he has ties to Arkansas. But that RPO stuff, man, when it's done right, it's really good. Especially you can put up a lot of points, and I think it kind of reminds me of Kendall Browse when he was doing his thing in KJ before he kind of, in my opinion, let the money get to his head. Our offense was clicking very, very, very well. The thing about it is, if you go that fast and you don't have guys who understand the small subtleties within that offense, you're really going to put yourself behind the 8 ball. So he's another guy for me that I think it would take time to build that program to the way that he wants it to be. But is Arkansas fans going to be okay with 2 years of trying to get it figured out? I don't know. I see people once again. Somebody says Silverfield owns Golesh in this one. We'll get you a 4th and 5 cap. Don't worry about it. We got a comment right here saying Franklin with resources financially gets kids and their parents that wouldn't sniff at Arkansas. I agree. I really do agree with that. No matter who ends up with the job, Hogs will have to get some more good talent, especially on defense. I agree with that too. The biggest question mark is going to be who the quarterback is going to be next year. You got to think Taylor Green's gone. You got KJ Jackson, but if Coach Petrino is not the guy, does he stay? And if a new coach comes in, does he bring in a new guy? I mean, there's so many things. Arkansas fans, I would say if Coach Petrino isn't here and you don't get a big popular name that'll instantly get recruits to come here, like my guy just said with that comment, I would just have to bear down the hatches for a couple years to let somebody kind of get their feet under the ground or let their feet underneath them and get this thing figured out. Somebody asked me about Eric Morris. I'm sorry I put him up on a poll. I don't think a lot of people were filling Eric Morris. Sorry about that. He was the least voted on person out of over 1,000 votes. And so we're going to pass on that one, okay? So go in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these coaches. We're going to take a quick break. You know what we're going to start doing? This may make you happy, Hog fans. Maybe talk some Razorback basketball, all right? We're going to be joined by Zach Gillum because college basketball is in full swing. Also, it's Monday Night Football. So make sure you stay tuned and get your phones out and download that Oakland Sports app. We're going to let you know what's on the board. Right now, my girlfriend is on fire when it comes to her parlays. We're going to see what her parlay is here tonight. And also going to take a look, like I said, about those Razorbacks on the basketball court are doing. Hey, and real quick, do y'all think Trevin Brazil slapped that guy in the face on purpose with that towel? Or was it an honest accident? Leave a comment. We'll be right back after the break.
Okay. I got my bet in on the next drive. Y'all?
Yep. Whoever loses picks up the tab.
You know, this Oakland Sports betting app is so fun to use, it might actually make watching these games with y'all bearable.
Big talk coming from a fella about to lose this wager.
Just need a field goal here and you'll be cooked, my friend. Remember our friendly wager.
And it's good.
Go!
Bet on any game all season long with Oakland Sports, Arkansas's best sports betting app.
This is humiliating.
At Ortho Arkansas, we know that Friday night sports injuries can't always wait until Monday morning. That's why our fellowship-trained sports medicine team opens our Saturday morning sports injury clinic every weekend during football season. With on-site x-rays, on-site MRIs, same-day evaluations, we can get the diagnosis for our athletes immediately so you know you get the right care at the right time. Our goal for our athletes is a safe recovery and a strong return to play. Saturday Sports Clinic, only at Ortho Arkansas.
Hey y'all, this is Cam here at Southwest Ford in Arkadelphia. We just built our brand new 3 facilities here, our GMC, Dodge, and Ford facilities. If you're coming down the highway on I-30, take exit 78. We'll be 1.5 miles down the road. You're gonna look on the right-hand side and you're gonna see our beautiful Chevrolet store. Right past that, you're gonna see our beautiful Dodge store. And at the end, you're gonna see our wonderful Ford store. Our 3 facilities here make it so easy for you to shop here. Whether it's online or in person, we have almost everything you want and need. And if we don't have it, we'll go out and get it for you. If you live somewhere far, north, east, south, or west, we will deliver to you. Free delivery across the whole state. Please come down and come see me at Southwest Auto Ford in Arkadelphia.
Sorry, reading a little comment. Welcome back to I I got to figure out who that person is in my comment. I'll ask you after this because your name's a little offensive, but you've been bringing some fire in the comment section. We're at the Mainline Sports Bar having a great time. If you've never been here before, it's a little environment like this. Come on out with your friends. Have a nice little time. Have a couple drinks. Watch some games. We got a little Monday Night Football going on tonight. We got the Packers and the Eagles. I'm joined now by Zach Gillum, letting us know what is on the board here at Oaklawn. Pumped up about it. We got the Vice President of Racing and Wagering here. And so, Zach, once again, like I said, it's just the bye week, man. It's like, what's going on in the world of sports? It's like you just lose track of time. It's just a lag, right?
You know, the thing that was nice is that we had that marquee big matchup for college basketball for us on the road, Michigan State. So I felt like that got a lot of people's focus. You had a few, or really a handful or more of really good college games and a couple good NFL games. But no, you're not wrong. It definitely changes things. I was telling you before we came on, it was a nice little break, so to say.
Yeah, I say break, but I can tell you, I mean, I talk about this thing every day, and I'm probably going to have to keep talking about it until it gets figured out, the next coach.
Yep.
Do people do odds on that? I know y'all don't. That's not what y'all do here.
Others do.
That's wow.
Right? And I might even be able to check before we get off and see if I can find something like that. But no, that's not something we do. Others, I've seen it offered, but I've not really dove in to look.
Yeah. Now, I know you're up here, and you know some people. Have you heard anything?
I haven't. No more than what you hear on the airwaves. You hear a bunch of people talking whether they want Petrino to be given a chance next year or not to be given a chance next year.
Yeah.
And if they're on the not bandwagon, then they usually have an opinion of who they would want.
Yep.
I'm looking for someone that's, hungry and wanting to prove themselves. I'm kind of sick of hearing about these $50 million buyouts that, not that we did one, but,
Here, speaking of a $50 million buyout, Kevin Ortega says right now, honestly, this is a far cry. But what if they call Nick Saban and have him name his price? He would literally do a complete culture change. I don't know. You? He literally got out of college football because of what is going on now with the paying of players and him believing that you can't develop players anymore.
I could be totally wrong, but I feel like you'd be setting yourself up for a $50 million buyout.
That's why I said you said $50 million at least with him, right?
That's what now, I could be totally wrong because, Saban, when he was at Alabama, I loved that program, even though I'm a Razorback. I loved what they were able to do, the winning mentality that they were able to put forth. Obviously, they had a lot of other tools in their chest there, but, I just hope that we can excel. Whoever it is, I'm going to support like I've always done, whether it's a coach that I wanted to be brought in or not. Once they get here, they're a Razorback. I'm going to support them.
Real quick, I want to get this in. One of our big supporters. You said you sent me a super chat. I didn't see it, but my guy Chris Caver wants to just go ahead and give Petrino the job. He's tired of hearing about it. All right, he says just give him the job. I see it right now. So, Chris, I'm going to put that up. Always appreciate Chris and the support that he's had for 4th and 5. But let's get into it. We got Monday Night Football here tonight, okay? So we got the Packers, go Pack, go, and they are playing against the Eagles. This game is in Lambeau Field. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's on the board. Before we do that, Zach, tell people how they can sign up and download the Oaklawn Sports Betting app. What you got for us?
Yeah, so the Oaklawn Sports app, we're available in the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. Desktop users can use it as well. Just go to oaklawnsports.com. And new users up to $1,000 in bonus bets. You're active after you make your first deposit. It runs for your first 10 days.
Nice.
No promo codes needed. Very easy to use. All the details available on the app or oaklawnsports.com.
All right, let's get right into it. What's on the board here at Oaklawn? And, Zach, we're going to start. We usually like to start with just the overall look at the game. And you said this is pretty much a pick-em. Explain what that means for people if they're watching for the first time.
Yeah, so when you hear a pick-em, that pretty much means there's no handicap on the game, so you're just trying to pick who's the outright winner. As you can see, this one shifted around just a bit. Right now you have Eagles as a 1-point favorite, so very close to a pick-em, and that's indicated when you look at the money line. So minus 104 on the Packers, minus 118 on the Eagles. And what that indicates, the minus, that's how much you're going to have to wager to profit $100. So for the Packers, that would be 104. For the Eagles, that would be 118, and that's because they're a little bit more of a favorite. And then on the total 45 points, you're looking at how 45. Many points are going to be scored combined between the two teams. So you don't care who wins. If you go over, you're looking for there to be 46 or more points, under 44 or less. Fewer. I don't know.
Ooh, that's a tough one for me. All right, let's get to the team options that are available here tonight. Like I said, we just did this maybe an hour ago, so I'm not sure if much has changed. But go ahead and walk people through this.
Yeah, so we're looking at a few different things here. Team total TDs, and this is for each individual team. So you're going to have 2.5 on both teams, again, because this is a close game. prior weeks we've looked at this. There's usually a team at 2.5 and one at 3.5. So this game, almost a pick 'em. You have them both at the same, and really the odds almost the same. -104 on the over, -120 on the under. Team total points, again, almost a pick 'em. So you're seeing 22.5 on both. Now the juice is going to be a little bit different. Eagles, as you say, or as you can see, a little heavy of a favorite on that over. Total successful field goals, that's for both teams combined. Keep in mind, this does not include PATs. This is an actual field goal that scores 3 points. So 3.5, and again, you can take the over or the under on that.
This is probably my favorite part. I like the player props because this is one that you stick with the entire game. Doesn't matter what the score is. Take a look at your players' props and see if we can get things going. What's on the board tonight?
Yeah, and these are just a few of the options. We're going to dive into some of the key players. So we have passing, receiving, and rushing. On the passing, you have Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts. We have the 225 plus. Keep in mind, you can see on these odds, Jordan Love -117. So that 225 is close to his actual number. It's probably 229.5. And then Jalen Hurts, not as expected to have that 225 plus, so his odds at +175. The good news is you could drop down and go to 175 if you're looking at Hurts.
Nice.
Or if you think they're going to do more, like Jordan Love, if you want to go to 250, you're probably going to get even money, plus money odds. Looking at receiving, we have Dobbs, we have Devontae Smith, 60-plus yards. Same thing here. Because these receivers are expected to have a different number of yards, the odds look different, but you can jump around. You're going to have 40-plus, 50-plus, 60-plus, 70-plus, and then on rushing, we have Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, two of the best in the league, +104 on Jacobs, -152 on Barkley, and that is for 70-plus rushing yards.
Woo-wee. All right, so I always got to ask this. I have to just submit to it now. If you want an opportunity to maybe win some money, I think you got to pay attention to Ebony's parlay.
Hey, I saw it hit.
Yeah, she hit one the other night. I think she bet, $20 on it, won about $95.
Yep.
Okay, so she's been knocking them out all year. I'm assuming you have one for tonight. Come on, boo. Bring it up in here. Let's see what she's got cooking up. Zach, I'll go ahead and have you put this thing in right now. And so this one's not on the app tonight, right?
Correct.
But if you go back and look before your Sunday games, we have our picks up there, and obviously before the college football picks. And those are what are easy because you can just go up to the app, just click on what everyone else is doing, and it's all done for you. So right now she's putting in Ebony's parlay for tonight. What are we looking at?
This one's fun, too. So,
Oh, Lord.
So we have
That means,
Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown score.
Feel good about it.
200-plus passing rushing yards for Jalen Hurts. We have 30-plus receiving yards for Romeo Dobbs. We have 40-plus rushing yards for Josh Jacobs. So here's where this is why I was saying it was going to get fun.
Okay, I'm about to say right now it sounds good.
Player to have at least a half sack, so 1 sack really is what we're looking for. Rashawn Gary, and that's a yes. And then 175-plus passing yards on Jordan Love. So I love it. We're throwing some defense in there. It just shows you what the options are. You know, you can take more than just the offensive
What's
players.
the odds on that?
Odds on this right now, +700. But if you use your same game parlay profit boost like Miss Ebony has, you're going to get +770.
Oh, man. So $10 to get you.
$10 if she wins it, back 87.
Dang, come on now.
Yep.
I may have to do it. That's our first time putting in a defensive player. I like that as well. Zach, tell me something good. I want to remind people, too, basketball is going on. So many different options. Maybe not. They play UCA tomorrow. I think the women play tonight or the day after. But what's on the board when it comes to men's basketball, especially for Arkansas? Maybe some futures for us out there?
Yeah, in men's basketball, I'm really happy what I've seen so far this year because I've been telling everyone it's a day-to-day sport. That's always been the case. But they're doing better at posting these games a day or two ahead of time, especially if they're marquee games. We had that Arkansas-Michigan State. I think it posted Thursday. So you had a couple days to look at that. There's a few of the big games for tomorrow: Kentucky, Louisville, Texas Tech, Illinois, Creighton, and Gonzaga. Those are on the board. Arkansas and UCA will likely post tomorrow morning. It's going to be a big number. But that will be available. You should see some player props for some of the Arkansas players.
Yep.
And as far as future odds go, to win the championship, Arkansas right now 20-1.
Okay.
So pretty good odds in my opinion.
You mean all of it, the whole shebang?
That's the whole shebang.
Okay, the whole
to
shebang, 20-1. Okay.
That's to win it all.
Yep.
And then if you're looking at the SEC regular season, now keep in mind this is not the tournament; it's the regular season. They are 7-1. They're the co-third choice with Tennessee. You have Florida as the favorite. Kentucky is the second choice. And then to make the Final Four, they're 4-1. So you have that on the board as well.
Okay. I think that's a lot of people's expectation right now, even after losing to Michigan State. Final Four?
I agree. I mean, I think the way they played, the way this team looks, of course, everything just like with most of these, we got to stay healthy. You got to keep people healthy. But the team looks phenomenal. Cal had a full year to actually prep instead of just being thrown in right at the end and trying to piece together a team.
You sound like is that a Coach Petrino thing right there?
Yeah, I'm just very excited to see what comes. I'm very excited to see what comes.
That'll be fun. We all know Coach Cal, man. He's a treat. And so, man, you talk about taking a program just to that elite level of being recognized around the country of like Arkansas is legit. So that's been fun. You know, I know a lot of people would love a splash higher for that. I mean, we can go back and forth all day reading these comments, trying to figure out who the next head coach will be. And after the break, you got to let me know where the odds are on that. Anything else you want to let people know about?
Yes, actually, you know, good news. This Arkansas LSU line, this opened up at 6.5. It's moving Arkansas's direction. So now LSU 5.5 point favorites. Keep in mind this is in Baton Rouge, and the total at 55.5.
Total at 55.5. I mean, here I am again, week in and week out. Before each of these games, Zach, I have said, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Arkansas wins that football game.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I think we're the best 2-7 team in the country right now, maybe in the history of college football. That sounds weird when you say it like that, but LSU on the struggle bus, giving everything they had and taking another tough game against Bama. Definitely see a really good opportunity for LSU to get something going. Did I say that out loud? See, for Arkansas to get something going against LSU. So, man, that's going to be a tough one. A lot of people, I think, as a whole, the fan base right now, Zach, they just want to know when this will happen. I mean, do you think it would be good for us to figure this out sooner than later?
I do, especially with all the openings we have.
Yeah.
I mean, in college football right now, there are so many job positions that are open. The later you are to that carousel, I mean, there's some big schools going to be hiring coaches.
Do you think they've offered someone already and they've said no?
I don't know that they would have offered. I could see them definitely of reaching out and seeing how interested someone was, and feel like I'm not that interested. They moved on pretty quick. But
yeah.
I think you got to be on the move.
Would you be comfortable with, like you said, if we did get a big splash higher, would that make you comfortable or nervous? Like move the needle higher?
I think it would. I mean, I'm going to be excited because that's going to help with recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean, a big splash is going to help with recruiting. It's going to get more eyes on the program. People are going to be talking about it for the next few weeks or until the next big hire occurs.
Yeah.
But really, until we get to next season, see what they can bring in, start building. You know, I'm just going to be optimistic that it's a Woo Pig Suey year.
Still got 3 games left. We'll see how they go. One more question. I'm asking you while you're here. Do you think if Petrino does well in these next 3 games, like I don't know, win 2 out of 3, that'll help his case? Or do you think does it not matter what happens in these games?
I think it's going to help his case, but I really felt like that Auburn game, not that Auburn's a bad team. They're a good football team.
Yeah.
But I felt like we needed to win that one by 10 to feel comfortable. I really did.
Good comment right here, and I'll leave y'all on this one. The Hogs. What? They won't even let me pull it up. It won't even let me pull up. Oh, that computer's running low. I didn't plug that up. Thanks, man. Somebody is saying that it won't even let me pull up this comment. They said the Hogs can win out, and my computer won't even let me pull it up. Isn't that something? Give us a break, all right?
Todd, I think we're going to land him from the Ravens. Huh?
I'd bet my house we don't hire whoever that is.
That's the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. He was head coach at Georgia for a few years.
Is he up for conversation?
The offensive coordinator at Georgia.
Is he in the conversation?
I have not heard him in the conversation.
I mean, there's so many names out there right now. Okay, so, all right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I think I know who this person is now. Richard, I need to talk to you. Anyway, y'all have a good one, man. Appreciate y'all watching 4th and 5. Don't forget, pregame show will be coming up Saturday morning where it is to be determined, but we got you covered. That's where we're also going to have our 4th and 5 parlay. We haven't hit one yet because Josh keeps on picking the wrong thing. We'll get it figured out.